Walt Disney is known as a genius for creating our beloved figures like Mickey Mouse, Beauty and the Beast, or the Lion King. When analyzing his process of creation, the NLP expert Robert Disney kind of separated his mode of creation into three different characters: the dreamer, the realist, and the critic. On the first day, Walt Disney would act like a dreamer, meaning he wouldn't judge or criticize any of his ideas. He would just write down what comes to his mind, ideally getting into a flow state, accessing more of his subconscious, and he wouldn't care about feasibility, marketability, implementation at all. On the second day then, he would kind of impose on himself the role as a realist, meaning whatever he wrote down, he would try to make it workable, structured, put it in a package into something a little bit more concrete. On the third day then, he would purposefully act as the critic, meaning he would criticize his ideas on whether they are marketable, whether they yield any consumer benefits, and ultimately, of course, generate money for his company. And this would be his process in general. So as you probably know, Walt Disney has created his best ideas 80 or 90 years ago. And I was wondering, how do we approach creativity and the creative process nowadays? Also, since I have kind of become a creator myself, I kind of wanted to let you into my thinking and mostly overthinking process of creating something. And then in the same course also discuss what are certain social mechanisms and movements and developments we have seen in society and technology that might, on the one hand, limit the way we create things like books, music, whatever you want to create, and might on the other hand have enhanced also how we are delivering creative work to society. And yeah, I'll see you in the video. So first of all, welcome back. I know I haven't uploaded something for I think more than a month now. I'm very sorry. You can probably still hear I'm pretty sick still. It was like when you call your employer and you have to cough because otherwise they wouldn't believe you that that you was actually sick. To talk about creativity, we should maybe start what is creativity? And honestly, it's a large topic what exactly creativity is, and there's many different perspectives on this. The best kind of definition I have of creativity that I found, and many of the insights of today's videos are also from this article, is from Cameron Loughlin, who kind of put it: creativity is the process of generating something new, something original that has value to an individual, a group, an organization, an industry, or a society. And this kind of leads me also to why I think this topic is so important in the first place. Because creativity or creative pieces, content, whatever you want to call it, has direct impact on what we are exposed to as a culture, as individuals, every day. The books we consume, the movies we watch, the TikTok videos you watch, whatever you want to see, whatever you want to, consider creativity to be as, it has direct impact on how we as a society view the world. So when comparing the kind of modern era and the past era of the creative process, the creative expression, I kind of want to focus on two developments that have been pretty strongly impacting this very creative process in the past years. The one is the market data and the market pressure, and the second one is the increased globalization and global exposure. So when talking about market data and market pressure, I first want to point out that just the amount of data that is available to assess whether a project will be or was successful has increased drastically. Be it kind of post-production data, such as, how many viewers you have, how many likes you got, how much is the watch time of any particular content, how much do people stare at your screen, and also the kind of pre-production data. For example, there are artificial intelligences that tell movie makers how much more likely your movie will be successful when you select this actor or the other one. So to analyze kind of whether this phenomenon has enhanced our creativity or limited, let's go back to Walt Disney. And I think when we look at these three characteristics, this data will mostly help the critic, right? And on the first glance, we can definitely see and appreciate that having more data available gives way more feedback to the creators, and therefore, enable the critic to make his work better, correct? However, in the same time, there are at least three issues I see with that. First of all, there's definitely a bigger pressure to perform. I want to give over to Savannah, a really great creator, that talked in her video a little bit about that.
It's a bit upsetting sometimes to think about the monetization of something that was once rooted in the innocent pursuit of expression. It's upsetting to have to create constraints on what you do in the interest of marketability or commercial appeal or satisfying trends.
I fully feel for her, and I love how she put it there. To be honest, this exactly the same that I feel when creating my content as well. And you know, there's so much data available as to what makes a successful producer. You know, you should post a video every week. You should make a video for maximum 8 minutes. Don't use that kind of intro. People will not have the attention span for that. And you have to post on TikTok, on Instagram, and everywhere. It kind of pressures you a lot because there are proven formulas, and you can definitely analyze a bunch of content creators out there, and probably the same applies also for people that wrote a book. But to have all this data out there definitely pressures you to conform and to act in the same way. And another thing you can also see is that, for example, on Netflix, many creations that are not successful will directly get shut off. I mean, who also have seen Sense8, for example? Like, Netflix has a history of stop producing series after 2 seasons when they didn't yield the right results directly.
I don't understand.
So to come back to the metaphor, as a result of this pressure, I would say that in the process of the 3 personalities, the critique is just becoming more and more important because he has more and more data, right? And as a result, you know, some things that might not work from an economical perspective, or might not work right now, or might haven't, found their right audience yet, those kind of creative processes are getting shut down. On the other hand, though, I definitely do see that having more access to data is giving you more of a clue. Hey, your content is good or your content doesn't work. So it's definitely working. However, this leads me to my second point, which is the kind of overemphasis on data. You know, talking about the overemphasis of data also kind of comes back to you as a consumer as well. Let's be honest. I mean, I'm honest here. Regularly, if I watch YouTube videos, for example, or any social media, I definitely have a prejudgment on the quality of the video, or at least on the importance based on the views the video has, right? If I'm looking for, I don't know, an entertaining video, I will definitely click the one that has more views than the other one, right? And again, I'm not trying to be extreme here. I definitely see if the video doesn't get any clicks or doesn't get any views, any interaction, it's on you as a creator as well to make it better, more entertaining, more attractive. There's definitely also an indication of the value of the video by the metadata, 100%, but it doesn't have to be. For me, it's definitely, whenever I talk about my content with people, one of the first things they do is to say, how many views do you have? How many subscribers do you have? My dad, I think he told me he watches every morning how many subscribers and how many views I got more. And he's a banker, he's really with numbers and all this kind of stuff. But you see how captivated we are by this idea of the views, by the clicks, by the numbers themselves. That I think being aware of that will already help. And for me, it's, as I said, it's sometimes sad that I really want to talk about the content of what I talk about, or things that I feel and go through and that motivate me, and not about the very raw data. You know, it takes a lot of the magic from the whole creative world for me, both as a consumer and as a creator, to be honest. So as a result, to come back to the metaphor, what I kind of wonder and doubt, how many people actually are able these days to start this creative process as the dreamer, and whether there might be a 4th person coming up that is somehow like the critique, but rather as an analyst that kind of brings and gives all the metadata, all the things that are proven to work out really well to the dreamer before he even starts limitlessly coming up with new ideas, be it a book, be it music, be it videos. And that's something I definitely feel is a detriment and a limitation of a creative process in society. Another thing I want to talk about is the globalization, and I think this has a lot of amazing points as well. So on the one hand, through the globalization, through technology as well, through social media, we are nowadays exposed to so much more content, so much more cultures, ideas, forms of expression than never before. I mean, I had to still buy the CD of Tokyo Hotel in the electronics store and put it into my CD player. Yes, back then they were cool. Back then Tokyo Hotel was cool, okay? There was so much more effort in this, And nowadays you can just look anywhere on Spotify, on Netflix, for movies respectively, for music as well. Give much more platform also to people that might not have the merit yet or might not have the financial opportunities to put themselves out there. I think that's a great and amazing thing for sure. Of course, there are also some flip sides. One thing I want to kind of discuss in another video is whether this whole globalization makes our content somehow also more similar, because we don't have this kind of local attitude anymore. But generally I feel more exposure, more platform, great for people, why not? And this kind of brings me to the last part of the video, which is kind of maybe perhaps some solutions or ideas to move forward with our creative process. And we have kind of learned that, you know, globalization and also some aspects of the market data can help us to, you know, assess better what people like and therefore inform us better, but at the same time also leave us with a lot of overthinking and overanalyzing and losing the role of the dreamer in society, in the creative expression at least. So the first thing is to give this kind of, you know, data, metadata, likes, views, ratings, a little less importance perhaps. And the only thing I want you to ask yourself is, in 2021, how much autonomy do you really think you have when selecting what you want to watch next? Especially when looking at even shorter content formats like on TikTok, on Instagram, etc. And I want to ask us as creators as well, or you as a creator, if you watch this, how much autonomy do you have when producing something, to not compare yourself with other people, to not be, you know, overly obsessed with the likes? How much autonomy do you have to be truthful with your original idea, with your original expression, with your original process that did also went through the dreamer, the realist, and the critique? And while we can't go back to the 90s, I'm not that much of an idealist, although sometimes I am. There are tools out there that can help us. So one thing I am using is the beautiful tool by Matt Davella, and basically hide all the views and the subscribers of channels. And this kind of gives us a certain more freedom to choose simply based on the thumbnail, on the title, and perhaps we can discover certain channels and videos that have less likes and, you know, really want more people to watch. And similarly, what you can do on Instagram, you can decide yourself to unable to see the likes. And it's really relaxing and makes the whole experience already much better. And the second thing is to focus on quality instead of quantity in both the consumption and the creation. And ultimately the creator is more responsible than a consumer, but I think it's an interplay, right? We are also reinforcing certain behaviors of the creators when we always consume a certain type of content, right? And I definitely learned, and for me as well, I do want to focus on quality. But if you feel that you would like focus on quality, you should just go for it. And perhaps, I mean, for me as well as a consumer, I even sometimes, I don't know if you had the same, I sometimes even have moments where I'm saying, okay, I'm not watching this documentary on Netflix, this well-made, well-conceptualized movie now, because there are so many cool, fun videos on YouTube that are 5 minutes and, you know, sparkle my dopamine receptors way more rapidly and way more effectively. So why would I even bother watching a 2 hours movie? I even came to this point of my attention span. So I try to actively work against that as a consumer and as a creator as well. And finally, to give people, creations themselves, the creative process, more time as well to develop. Coming back to Walt Disney, actually also in his case, Mickey Mouse was first laughed at or rejected. So I think if we give people more time, the environment, and maybe also the feedback and the openness to really develop their creative side, their creative nature, we can see more and more of those Mickey Mouses, or if you don't like that, other creations to come. And this would be beautiful. So to conclude, I feel the process of Walt Disney is a great process. I love it. Also because I'm a dreamer myself. I really feel for humanity and for creative expression to put a bigger emphasis on the dreamer, back to him, to give him some more trust, to feel like, okay, things can go work out. We don't have to be overly anxious about something that has to work out. We don't have to analyze everything before. We don't have to judge everything based on numbers. We can give things their time. We can focus on quality. We can do that both as creators and as consumers. I'm sure there are many more opinions out there, many more tips that I haven't mentioned. Please leave them in a comment. That's it, I think, for today. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Okay, no, I'm talking about the same thing, but you know the deal. And then I see you next time. Bye.